Hello, my name is Michelle Gettins and welcome to my YouTube channel. I created this channel in order to provide inspiration and motivation to everyone out there. I have unique journey and experiences that I'm ready to share with the world. And so I will start off with introducing you to myself, my life. I am a mother to two teenage daughters, Julia, who is 16, and Fatima, who is 13. I am married to Kevin, who's my second husband, and we are very happily married. He's my best friend, my soulmate, my biggest supporter, and we couldn't be a happier family. It's been put on my heart for a long time to start this YouTube channel because I feel it is part of my purpose to share with the world what I have to say. So now, today in my life, a lot of people would say, and I do feel myself, that I'm happy and I'm a strong, confident woman. I do feel like that I am now living out the purpose that God has put out there for me to fulfill. It took me a long time to get to this point, and I want to share with the world the tools and the strategies and the wisdom that I have gained over my lifetime to be here. And what's really interesting to me is that this journey is just that, a journey. It's continuous, it's ever changing, and I find that almost daily, if not weekly, I learn something new. I discover something. I figure out a new way to live out this life and to continue to be joyful. So, as I said, it took a lot of work to get here, and it's because of my unique journey and experiences that I'm able to speak to these things. So the focus of my channel, because of this unique journey, is to inspire and motivate people to live out their purpose. I want to talk about the traumatic experiences that I've lived through, and in doing so have other people look back at their own and tackle a lot of topics as we weed through these things and how they affect us today and how we can deal with these things as we move forward in life and try to be happy people and purposeful people. I am a pharmacist by trade. I feel that I have a lot of expertise in health and wellness, self-care. I concentrate a lot on taking care of myself, on exercise and nutrition. I feel that all of that plays a huge role in taking care of yourself and becoming a healthier person, not just in your body, but in your mind and in your soul. And with those elements, they work together so that you can have the energy and the drive and the motivation to live out and work out through these whatever issues you may be dealing with, to become a happy and joyful person. So in order for you to understand why I'm doing this and how I got here and why I'm able to speak to this, I have to tell you my story. And doing this is hard. This is the first time that I'm really putting it out there. I told my husband, my children know, less than 5 people in this whole wide world know my story. And I get that a lot of people look at me and they ask me how I am the person that I am. And I can say a few anecdotal things, but it really comes down to my experiences and what I've lived through. So I will start with, I grew up in your pretty normal household, what looked like to be a very normal household to the world. My parents married, never divorced. I have 2 brothers. We lived in suburbia. They both worked very hard. So everything on the outside seemed very, very normal. It's very hard for me to get into the details about some of these things, so I feel that those details will naturally come up as episodes and different topics come up and that I want to tackle going forward. So for now, I am going to be happy with the fact that I have the courage to at least speak about it. Starting at the age of 8, I experienced sexual abuse, and going from 8 until 14, physical abuse, and then past that, mixed in, obviously there was psychological abuse during those years. But then once going down that path, I created self-sabotaging behaviors in my teenage years, which included heavy use of drugs and alcohol and sex to numb whatever it was that was going on in my soul. and which eventually led to my very toxic and abusive first marriage that lasted for 10 years until I finally found a way to escape when I was 30. So from the age of 8 until 30, I was abused almost daily, and this isn't a cry for help. This isn't a Me Too thing or anything like that. It's just the truth. It is what it is, and it played a huge role in who I am today. And I love the fact that God brought me to the point to be able to talk about it and really not be afraid, but looking forward to the conversations that might spin off of this. So getting back to the story, a huge part of this story is when I was a teenager, I left. When I was 17, I left my home because it was not a good place for me to be in. And I left with the help of a guidance counselor and some mentoring teachers. And the twist to the story is that my mother was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer, and when I was a senior in high school, pretty much right after I left the house. So, you know, I had to put all the crap behind me. I had to put it on the back burner because I love my mom. I loved my mom. You know, no matter what hell you're going through, your mom and your dad are your mom and your dad. And so I did the best that I could to be there for her and supported her. And you know, we did a lot of talking, a lot of healing, and ultimately she passed away when I was 21, when I was in pharmacy school. And interestingly enough, that funeral is the first time my first husband reached out to me. And that is a very critical fact in this whole story. I didn't know it at the time, but it was how he targeted me to be able to convince me, coax me. I don't know what the words are, but at the time I just thought he was this wonderful man, and he was great to me, and he was supportive, and he was helping me through this time that my mom had passed away. And it turned into a relationship, and quickly turned into a very serious relationship where he moved in with me within 2 months. And I was railroaded by him. And not even a year later, I started to notice that it was not right, but I didn't have the strength to leave. It took a year and a half, and I was noticing that it was really, really bad and toxic, and I wanted to leave, and I found out that I was pregnant. Finding out that I was pregnant was the most scariest but most divine thing that has ever happened to me. Julia was a godsend. She was the angel that saved me. I knew that I wasn't living the life that I was supposed to live at that time, and before I found out that I was pregnant, I prayed my first true and honest prayer to God. I remember looking at myself in the mirror and praying because I was so disappointed in what I was looking at. I knew that I had sabotaged my life. I felt like it was all my fault. I felt like everything that I had been going through that led me to that point where I felt I was trapped and I didn't have the strength to do anything right, and I just kept on screwing up, and I just prayed and I said, you could punish me in any way, just please don't take away the ability for me to have a child. And 2 weeks later I found out I was pregnant. It was so scary, but I made it. I told my first husband that I was pregnant, and he told me that he was sterile, and I didn't know what to do with that, and I was scared, but I decided that I was going to plow through. I was going to concentrate on this baby and make her everything good and nothing bad, and make sure that she didn't go through anything that I went through. And I was just determined. I was determined to make this great. And so she did. She saved me, and I was able to forget about all the bad things and concentrate on her. She was born, and it was okay. Even though it was hard, I was in my third year of pharmacy school, I had no money. I figured out how to make it work. Angels were put in my path to show me the way. I had a lot of help. I had government aid, and I made it through pharmacy school. Her father, when she was 7 months, decided that he was her father. He claimed her. He's from Nigeria, so her skin started to turn brown at about 7 months. So she's biracial, and when he realized that she's obviously his, he claimed her, and he quickly thereafter asked me to marry him, and I said yes. So we got married, and he continued to be in school. He continued to try to be a part of our lives as much as he could, even though he went away to school. He continuously stayed enrolled in a program, whether it was in North Carolina. He ended up going to Tennessee. During that time, he was just failing out of programs, going into programs. I was just waiting for him to graduate and start working. And in the meantime, I got pregnant with our second daughter, Fatima. She's such a beautiful, beautiful soul. And just thought I was living a marriage. I was working, he was going to school, I had these two girls, and little by little over time, I realized he was just never getting out of school. And he came back to North Carolina when Fatima was a baby and stayed for 2 years. Those were probably the best 2 years of our marriage. Thought it was okay, and then he graduated with a degree and decided he wanted to go back to school, but in New York. I finally started to put my foot down. I wanted a husband, I wanted a working man, I wanted support, I wanted somebody home. And as soon as I started to put my foot down, he started to threaten to kidnap the children and take them to Nigeria. He did that more than once. He emptied their closets more than one time. I laid in front of the minivan one time to prevent him from leaving with them. I shared this with a neighbor finally, and she opened my eyes to what was going on and helped me to get out. I formulated a plan. I contacted a lawyer, and it was the scariest thing I did, but I finally got the courage up to leave. It was a very violent time. He couldn't stand the fact that I was standing up to him. Restraining orders got involved, and it was a battle. It was a battle going forward, how to get out of it and get him out of my head. So fast forward, I met Kevin. I met him while I was doing a race. I dove into physical fitness to help build me up both mentally and physically, and that's how I met him. And he became an integral part of our lives. He quickly valued me, valued the girls, became a father figure to them, and I took a leap of faith again and moved to Georgia. So Kevin and I have been in a healthy relationship for 7 years, and with the transition of him coming into our family and becoming a father to our daughters, myself moving to Georgia to be with him, and finding a new job here, making new friends, and creating a new life, we finally have a healthy home, healthy relationships, healthy surroundings, and it continued to be, and still continues to be, a road of recovery for me. I've accomplished a lot. One of my biggest goals was to create this healthy environment, and we do everything we can to uphold it. However, God has put new goals on my heart, and one of them was to start a small business, which I started, and it's called LeafM, and launched it, and we're just a few weeks in to the launch, and it's interesting launching during a pandemic, but I'm excited to see where it's going to go. The YouTube channel has been put on my heart. I have been wanting to share these experiences for quite some time, but I'm sure as many of you have been through traumatic experiences, it takes a long time to heal and recover and get to the point where you have the courage to talk about it freely and to share your experiences. So I am looking forward to see where this path takes me. With that being said, I want to thank you for hearing my story. I hope this has resonated with you. I hope I have touched on things that are relatable, and if there are topics that you would like to go over, or thoughts that you have, or insights that you may have, I would love for you to subscribe and comment and let me know your thoughts. There's a ton of things I want to touch on. It's not always going to be heavy topics, but definitely we're going to explore a lot of these things that I've had to explore on my road of recovery and continuing to heal and become a strong and purposeful person. I look forward to bringing content that is very inspirational and motivational. I will talk about subjects regarding motherhood, relationships, friendships as a grown woman, entrepreneurship, my journey on this opening up a new business, and everything that goes into trying to figure out what our purpose is here on earth. So with that being said, I look forward to the next time. Bye.